El padre Pellegrino Ernetti fue un sacerdote, científico, músico, filósofo y teólogo italiano. En 1972, Ernetti se hizo famoso por afirmar que había creado una máquina llamada cronovisor, que permitía ver y escuchar eventos históricos del pasado de la Tierra. Según él, la máquina había sido construida junto con un equipo de científicos en la década de 1950 y era capaz de capturar eventos del pasado, de la vida de Jesús, así como también de la historia de Roma, y dijo lo siguiente: el cronovisor es como un telescopio, pero en lugar de ver cosas distantes, nuestro dispositivo podía enfocar en imágenes y sonidos específicos del pasado. Pudimos contemplar el pasado vivo. Esto lo dijo en la revista italiana Tempus en el año 1972. En el año 2002, un documental llamado El nuevo misterio del cronovisor Vaticano aseguró que la Agencia Espacial de los Estados Unidos, la NASA, tenía la tecnología del cronovisor y la estaban utilizando para investigar eventos del pasado de la Tierra. También se dice que Pellegrino Ernetti habría mostrado unas imágenes falsas de Jesús, que habría extraído de un cuadro y una figura de Jesús crucificado para despistar a los servicios de inteligencia que lo seguían para quitarle el cronovisor, como hicieron finalmente, ya que Ernetti estaba trabajando con científicos americanos en la construcción de esta tecnología. Lo interesante de toda esta historia es que el doctor Andrew Basiago, del cual ya hice un vídeo anteriormente, explica que cuando formaba parte del proyecto Pegasus del DARPA, basado en viajes en el tiempo y en el holograma del espacio-tiempo del planeta, disponían de esa tecnología del cronovisor para ver eventos del pasado. También nos habla de esa misma tecnología Dan Burris, entre otros, la cual la llaman Looking Glass. Pues bien, Andrew Basiago explica que a quienes formaban parte de Pegasus les mostraban grabaciones de eventos del pasado de la Tierra y que vio, entre otras cosas, la crucifixión de Jesús y Resurreccion. Esto también me hizo recordar lo que explica J.J. Benítez en su serie de libros titulados Caballo de Troya, basados en un viaje en el tiempo que hicieron agentes norteamericanos de la época de Jesús. Casualmente explican lo mismo, que los controladores disponen de esa tecnología de viajes en el tiempo y del cronovisor, el Looking Glass. Hay muchas coincidencias en todo este tema. Muchos informantes que cuentan lo mismo, la misma historia, y que los controladores están muy interesados en la figura de Jesús, en su ADN, en los poderes que tenía Jesús. Esto también lo explica J.J. Benítez en Caballo de Troya, que buscan el ADN de Jesús para clonarlo. Pero veamos qué explica sobre el cronovisor y las grabaciones de Jesús Andrew Basiago.
A flat screen, basically something like in the nature of a television screen, in which a past event was being shown. Ernetti used it to prove and to derive and show the world a missing stanza, historically missing stanza from a Roman play. And he also insisted until his death in 1994, as a very respected Catholic prelate, that they had also captured images of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. Now I know he was telling the truth because I saw a 20 to 30 minute 16 millimeter film of the crucifixion of Jesus that was being played, that was being displayed at the Sandia National Labs in Sandia, New Mexico in the summer of 1972. Now, when we left that viewing, my dad was with his longtime friend Connie Chavez, a woman at one point that he wanted to marry, and she was just in distress watching the crucifixion of Jesus as it really happened. Jesus was an historical personage, he was crucified, and everybody in that room knew it because it wasn't a dramatized rendering of the crucifixion. It was horrendously awful to watch in light of Jesus' suffering. And we could tell, based on our understanding of the three New Testament accounts of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth, that it was a real event and not just some purported event. I mean, you have David Icke claiming that the Bible was scripted by the Piso family of Rome. You have people now in Eastern religions who have come out and tried to show that Jesus is just a recapitulation of a previous deity. My position is that what we were watching was a real crucifixion. Do I know it was Jesus? Well, 600 Caucasian men, roughly his age, were crucified by the Roman Empire. within 3 years of his alleged death. It could have been somebody else, but everything that the New Testament depicts about the execution of Jesus of Nazareth was in that film. We saw women coming to pray beneath his cross. There were 2 other crucifixion victims behind him on hillsides. He had a crown of thorns that was almost like a motorcycle helmet in size around his head, and blood was pouring down his temples and into his eye sockets and then down his cheeks and into his corner of his mouth. He was very emaciated. He was about my height, which used to be 5'10", and looks like many of the medieval paintings of Jesus. The women were chased away by a Roman centurion. I saw Longinus, one of those centurions, jump up on his left, with his right leg and standing on his left leg, and extend his arm as far as he could, holding the end of a spear shaft, piercing Jesus in the side. That was a so-called spear of destiny, being used to release the fluids that had gathered in Jesus' chest cavity. The sky grew dark at one point. So we knew it wasn't a dramatization. If it was somebody besides Jesus, how did so many of the details correspond to the New Testament accounts? There are 3 of them of his execution. The really incredible thing is not just seeing that, and as a Catholic Sunday school child being absolutely horrified by seeing the actual crucifixion of Jesus. Connie was just sort of squirming in a chair and not even most of the time able to look at the screen. At one point she actually put her hands and then looked a little bit past some of her fingers at what we were watching, which was horrific. I actually felt like evil was present in the room, like it was buzzing in the center of the room, like a hive of bumblebees or something. We get outside, and my dad says to Connie, I don't know why you're acting like that. And she said, what do you mean, Ray? They were crucifying my Lord. How was I supposed to respond? Connie Chavez was so devout that she spent her whole life helping the nuns at the San Felipe de Nero church there, the church that goes back to 1706, on the main square there in Old Town Albuquerque. It's actually older than the surrounding buildings, that church. But she was always doing things for the nuns. She was a devout believer. When they had my book and she learned she was going to die at age 53 of complications from diabetes, just 10 years in the future, she just expressed this almost visceral gasp as we were leaving a Chinese restaurant. Because my dad was showing her the year and the condition under which she was going to die after double amputations of her legs from diabetes. And she just gasped with shock that she only had 10 years to live, and said, well, Ray, my faith is in Jesus Christ, and walked out of that restaurant. And that was a very vivid moment, and it really shows the measure of Connie Chavez's faith. But so my dad's saying something that's really preposterous. He's saying, I don't know why you were acting like that. She said, Ray, they were crucifying my Lord. And he said, but don't worry. She said, why not? He said, because my team also went to where Jesus was lying in the crypt, and we have the footage where 3 days later, there's a flash of light in the crypt. 2 men appear. He didn't say angels. 2 men appear. Jesus stands up, and the 3 of them push the rock away, and he walks out of his crypt. Okay, and Connie and I were obviously very astonished. And she said, what are you saying, Ray? And he said, we also have footage of the resurrection. Now, I don't say that as a former Catholic to advocate Catholicism or any religion. I'm just reporting what happened.